All right, a little fact about myself. I love a good cup of coffee, and today we are testing out the Terra Kaffe TK-02, what they say is the world's smartest coffee machine. Let's talk about it and see if this thing is worth the $1,700 price tag. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Desmond. I talk about tech and travel gear, and one of the things that has been really exciting for me lately is just how much great home tech there is. I spend a lot of time on planes, I travel a bunch, but when I'm not, I love being in my home. I spend a lot of time working from home. I work at my desk. So for me, having a great coffee maker is pretty critical to just my normal everyday life, and I'd say it's mission critical to my workflow. And that is where the TK-02 comes into play. This is what I would consider a super automatic coffee machine, as in everything from the grinding, the brewing, the dispensing, all of that is done by this single machine. And the best thing about it, with a single touch. In today's video, we are going to run through all of the specs, the design, the features, functionality, and then I'll set it up and talk about how it has been working in the home so far. And of course, Terra Kaffe did send this over for review, but they don't get to see this video before it gets published. They don't have any input into my opinion. I personally tested and purchased a ton of different coffee machines, from super automatic to espresso machines to just drip coffee, canteens and containers. I love my coffee, so I've definitely seen my fair share of products. Now, before we jump into the full overview, let's talk about technical specs. From a size perspective, this thing is 17.5 inches in diameter, 10.4 inches in width, and 14.3 inches in height. It is not a small machine, but I'd say for what it does, and because of the design aesthetic and design choices, it looks and feels very compact and fits really nicely on a home kitchen counter alongside any other kitchen appliance. Now, the machine itself weighs about 29.5 pounds. Not really a problem once you get it onto the counter. It's still relatively simple to move around, but just know that it's almost 30 pounds. And then on top here, you're gonna find a 16-ounce bean hopper, which just means you can hold a pretty substantial amount of full beans here. You're gonna get a lot of coffee and a lot of use out of just one full container on top. What we'll talk about more in detail later on is the conical burr. It is a 48 millimeter size, but there are adjustments that you can make to the fineness of this grind, all of that customizable on the machine's LCD and via the app. Water tank capacity is 75 fluid ounces. It does come with a 600 ml milk carafe, which you can store in the fridge or just fill every time you want a milk-based drink. So with that out of the way, let's get into the review. First, and probably one of the biggest buying factors for a lot of people, will probably be the design. Yes, features and functions are important, but I think design is going to make a massive difference for a lot of people, especially if you are looking to cough up $1,600 to $1,700. But in my opinion, this thing is beautifully designed, especially compared to some of the other super automatic coffee machines that I have owned in the past. I personally like the minimal box style design language here. Everything is very clean, it's modern, it's aesthetic. It comes in either black or white. I opted for a black color, but generally speaking, all of the design elements are really well placed. Now, of course, the centerpiece of the design is going to be this large LCD screen that takes up most of the real estate on the front. This thing is great because it is simple. The UI is actually really quite smooth and works really nicely. And here you can see we can choose between a number of pre-programmed options. We have espresso, we have an Americano, a cappuccino, we can do a latte, we can do drip coffee, which is fantastic, and then we can just do steamed milk. But one thing that I will call out that is special to the TK-02 is you can customize and create your own profiles, and beverages. So what Terra Kaffe says is this machine can make up to 100,000 different custom drinks. I am personally not that big of a coffee aficionado. I will probably come up with a couple of customizations, but for those of you out there that really want to fine tune this, or have a house full of people that have very specific coffee needs and preferences, yeah, 100 different drink options, I don't think you're gonna have a problem there. So let's make our way around the machine. First of all, like I mentioned, on top here, this is the bean hopper. This transparent cover is actually attached via magnets, which is very nice, very clean. It pops right off. This is where you can place your beans. Right in front of it though is an additional smaller cover, and this is where you can drop in ground beans. So if you've already got ground coffee that you prefer, that you like, you can just scoop it in here. It comes with an included bamboo spoon, which again, I think is very aesthetically pleasing. And over here on the right, this door opens up and this will reveal your water tank. As I mentioned before, 75 fluid ounces of water here. I think this is great. You can see the minimum and the maximum fill lines. You don't need side access to this machine. So if you are placing it in between other kitchen appliances or in a tight spot, you can access everything from the front and from the top. And the water tank pulls right out. You can fill it up, slide it right back in, close the door, it hides away. I actually prefer this design over some of the other super automatics, which have like an exposed or an open, transparent water tank that you can see all the time. I think this just keeps everything really self-contained, and again, sticks to that sleek, modern aesthetic that I think most people would probably purchase this for. Then we've got another hidden door. You can open this up, and this is where the used or emptied grounds will go. It slides right out. You can dump them out, wash this. It's really quite easy. Slide it back in, close the door. No fuss. It's a very simple and elegant solution. And of course, on the bottom here is the drip tray. This entire drip tray slides out, so you can remove the magnetic grate on the front, wash the drip tray, open it up, and just keeps everything really clean. I personally just like how everything is self-contained, and aesthetically, this just feels like a very buttoned up, well thought out design for a coffee machine, because a lot of the innards are very complex and there's a lot of different moving parts and components that you have to manage. It does a good job of hiding all of those in this very sleek package. And then down here we have an adjustable extractor. This is where the espresso or the drip coffee or whatever you're brewing comes out of. You can adjust the height to meet your small or tall mugs. That's really convenient. One thing to call out, if you have it adjusted too low, you cannot open the tray to empty your used grounds. Just make sure you push it back up, and then you'll have easy access to that door. So now let's talk about features and functionality. Of course, the biggest thing is this thing makes espresso and drip coffee, as well as a combination of different drinks like cappuccinos, Americanos, lattes, etc. But the biggest piece is because it does make real drip coffee, there's no need to switch out different filter types. It just does it all within the machine. So you don't have to change anything. If you want an espresso, if you want drip coffee, sometimes I will do a drip coffee and I'll just add a shot of espresso because I need an additional pick-me-up in the morning. And really that's just a couple clicks of that 5-inch LCD screen. I also mentioned earlier the 600 ml Milkarff. You can easily plug this into the machine, hit cappuccino, and it's going to automatically steam your milk, get your espresso shots ready, and create a perfect espresso for you. And as I mentioned, because you can customize and dial in all of the different settings, that espresso, that cappuccino, that latte, it can be defined to whatever your preferences are, and you can even set different profiles for the types of beans that you'll be adding to this machine. And I'll just show you quickly, you can set this espresso profile for the different beans or for your personal preferences, but you can set the dosage, the amount of water, the temperature of the extraction, and then the grind size for that conical burr. But out of the box, everything is set to auto, and the nice thing is the TK-02 has an auto adjust conical burr, which is going to automatically determine the grind size based on the beans that you're using to give you what it thinks is going to be the most precise setting for your extraction. Now, not only can you make all of these changes on that 5-inch LCD screen, but you can also do it with the app. I actually think the app is one of the elements that makes this such a smart coffee maker. Of course, you can easily sync it up. Once it's connected, you can have it auto turn on, auto turn off. You can set all of your coffee profiles and all of your custom drinks using the app as well. You can trigger a brew. You can do everything from the app that you can do on the LCD screen. It's all connected via Wi-Fi, which is fantastic. And it just adds a lot more convenience to today's modern homes. Something fun that they did add, maybe for those of us that are struggling over the price tag, is stats on how much money you save per drink that you make. So it gives you a tally of how many drinks you've brewed, how many shots of espresso, how many pounds of beans you've used, water you've used, and then it tallies it all up and tells you how much you've saved spending it at a coffee shop or brewing it at home. So maybe that will give you some justification on the price tag, but that was a cool feature I noticed. I've definitely done my fair share of coffee making with the TK-02. As I mentioned, every morning, definitely a drip coffee, maybe a shot or two of espresso on top of that. It is really quite convenient being able to just quick tap with my finger, hit brew, and we are ready to go. The other nice thing about it, especially when it comes to more complex coffee machines like this, is cleaning. The automatic cleaning cycles, really convenient. I can't stress that enough. I've definitely had super automatic coffee machines break on me as well because, you know, it's tough just keeping up with the cleaning cycles and descaling and doing all those things. I really like that a lot of that is baked into the functionality of the TK-02. It's going to, of course, extend the lifespan of this machine. Descaling, all of those things are a part of it. You get the included packets, but the automated cleaning cycles, that's really quite nice. So every time you turn on the machine after a long period of not using, or maybe overnight, it will do a quick cycle, steam, water, cleans out all of the tubes and the components inside. When it automatically shuts off, it does another cycle to clean everything off. And for those of you that like to do milk-based drinks, it has an automatic milk steam clean process that happens. So after you finish making your milk-based drink, you unplug the carafe, you are prompted automatically to clean the steamer. Once you hit that, again, a single touch, it'll clean out that portion and then you can wash the carafe yourself. I'll quickly run through setup because it's just as simple as the machine looks. You plug it in, you fill up the bean hopper, you fill up the water, and then you follow the prompts on the screen, and then you're basically good to go. There really isn't much to it. So let's talk about the quality of the coffee. I am not a world famous expert on any of this, but of course I have owned a number of super automatic coffee makers. I've spent a ton of time working with different espresso machines, and I am a part owner in a coffee company. So I've definitely spent my fair share with coffee. So with that said, I think the coffee is pretty good. The quality holds up really well. The espresso extractions look great. The crema is definitely there. The flavor is robust, and it definitely is in line with the types of beans that I use. I actually really like the drip coffee. I think there's a good balance there between the amount of water and volume and temperature, all the things that go into just making a pretty solid cup of drip coffee. And then in terms of the milk-based drinks, maybe you could dial them in a little bit more on your own, but kind of out of the box. Yeah, the cappuccino, it tastes great. It's a good volume, it's a good mix. The lattes, all of those things are definitely there. I actually think the quality is still better than some of the other super automatic machines that I've used. So generally speaking, I have no complaints about the quality of the coffee. It doesn't give me crappy coffee, that is for sure. Everything, for the most part, is pretty good. It tastes fantastic, and it is very consistent. And of course, for those of you that want a very specific profile or have different preferences, you can dial in everything that you need to get your perfect espresso shot, to get your perfect drip coffee qualities, all from the app or on the screen. So my conclusion, I think this is a beautifully designed, well-functioning machine. And I'm not saying that because they sent one over. I've, like I said, spent tons of my own money on different super automatic machines, varying different price ranges, from $600 to $200 to over $1,000. And I've had to buy them all because sometimes they just don't work as well as the next machine, or I'm looking for a better feature, or I'm looking for more convenience. I actually think the TK2 does a really good job, even for its price tag, of consolidating all of the best things that I like from the different machines that I purchased into one package. So maybe it saves you some money instead of searching and trial and error, because coffee machines are expensive. This one kind of checks a lot of the boxes. Beautiful design. It's smart because of the app, because of the screen, because of all the customizations that you can put into it. Functionality wise, yes, great espresso, great drip coffee. The fact that it can obviously create milk-based drinks, also a huge plus. Ease of use, ease of cleaning. That is a really big one for me. So with all these components, it can definitely be worth it for some of you that are looking for a beautiful kind of like set it and forget it machine that's going to do everything. It's going to last a long time, and it's always going to look great and give you a solid espresso and a solid cup of coffee. All right, so that is my overview of the Terra Kaffe TK-02. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Feel free to check it out. There are lots of other videos on this. It's not a cheap machine, so I would definitely recommend doing your research. Watch some other videos. If you've got a friend that's got one, go test it. I had a buddy that came over. He wanted to make a couple cups of coffee. He's been looking at this for a while, so he's been testing it here. But definitely do your research. I will catch y'all in the next one.